Okay, the 90 series or the drop back series of the system. There's a couple points go along with that. One is that the offensive line will vertical set and what we call our 90 set, which is at least a 4-step vertical set with the inside foot going first, and they basically just run backwards 4 steps, which they do it right, should end up in the same position that they were to start with on the line of scrimmage at about somewhere between 4.5 and 5 yards deep, and then they work from there. So it's a deeper set by the offensive line, which means, and we've got deeper routes, which means that the quarterback's going to take a 3-step drop on most high school quarterbacks can take a 3-step drop on all the 90 game stuff. A couple things that will change up a little bit on drops depending on where they're at on the field and maybe depending on the play, but for the most part take a 3-step drop. Now it can be adjusted based on the quarterback and again at field position, but if quarterback takes really short steps and doesn't get any depth on his drops, and it may change him to a 5-step dropper. Because what you want is you want the quarterback to his 3-step drop should take him about 4 to 5 yards depth. Okay, so his heels are at 5. You'd like to see him on his 3rd step be at 9, 9.5. If he can't get there on 3 steps and he takes 3 really short, tiny steps, then you'll have to work on a 5-step drop. But otherwise, 3-step drops works. With about 90-95% of the high school quarterbacks I've worked with can throw pretty much all the 90s on a 3-step drop. Again, the quarterback should be about 9 yards deep if he takes a full drop. Concepts can be referred to using numbers or words, so that's where the 90s came from. If you're using wristbands, I recommend that you use numbers. If you're going to signal and all of your players are going to learn all the concepts, then a lot of times words are better. So your preference. First play we're going to start with is going to be the shallows, which is a really good play. It's one of the staple plays of this system. It's been around for a long time. I know Tony and a lot of the college guys don't really run the full concept of this. They run components of it, but not the full concept. But it's a good high school play, and it's good because it's good versus a lot of different coverages, if not all coverages. And it's an easy play for quarterbacks to read. It's an easy way to get the ball to receivers a lot of times on just running the shallow route. And the reads on the shallow route, we changed it just a little bit, or at least I have. We used to call it hot, shallow, dig, shoot. Now I call it hole, HOLE, shallow, dig, shoot, because the first read we're going to read the whole player opposite of the way that the shallows lined up, the shallow route runners coming from. Basically, because he's going to dictate to us basically if the shallow route or the dig route is going to be open. So we're going to get our eyes on that whole player or that whole defender immediately on the drop. And then we've got 2 pre-snap reads. We got a pre-snap post and a pre-snap go if we got 0 coverage, and then we go from there. And you can anytime you see 80s. Okay, anytime you see 80s in front of any of the 90 stuff, that just means there's a play fake. Okay, that's our play action stuff. So here this is Z shallow. Okay, so this is 90 Z shallow, and we run the shallows primarily out of a 2x2 set. Most people 100% of the time run it out of a 2x2 set, but there have been some 2x2 are empty, and then there has been some shallow concepts run out of trips. But basic shallow concept is out of a 2x2 set. Okay, and the shallow route runner, he wants to be no more than probably 5 or 6 yards from the tackle when he runs his shallow. Okay, and the shallow route, he wants to take off and immediately get in to his route, and he wants to start at the depth of the heels of the defensive lineman, then slightly gain ground to where if he got to the opposite hash, he might be 5 or 6 yards deep. Okay, and then he wants to continue to run the whole way. All right. On the opposite side of the shallow is the dig runner, and we'd like for that dig runner to be about 10 yards from the. We'd like him to be about 10 yards from the tackle. Okay. That makes that whole player have to declare whether he's going to be a blitzer or not. He can't blitz from 10 yards out, so he really has to show his hand on that, which helps on picking up blitz and being able to read the play and get the ball off quick. So we'd like for that dig route runner to be 10 yards from the tackle. The dig route runner wants to go through the outside pad of the hole defender every time, so he can try to turn him away from the shallow route runner. Anytime we've got somebody running a shallow route to us, we want to try to turn the defender away from him if we can. So we've got a hole defender here. The dig route runner wants to go through his outside shoulder pad, get to a depth of 10 to 12 yards, break that dig route off flat to even downhill just a little bit again, because we don't want to take a big hit from a safety. So that's the dig route. And then the back is going to run a shoot. He's going to check release and run a shoot. Always lines up to the same side as the shallow route runner. Okay, always lines up to the same side as the shallow route runner. As you can see, if he were to run his shoot over here with the shallow route coming to it, we've got two guys in the same spot. One defender can defend both. So we don't want that. On the same side as the shallow route runner here, we've got a 10-yard post. We've got a pre-snap post route. Could be inside receiver, could be outside receiver. You can tag a shallow with any of these receivers if you like. But on the same side as the shallow route runner, we've got a post route, and the post will always go to the dig. Okay, and then the go route will always be on the same side as the dig. All right, and those are purely pre-snap reads. Again, you would want to have somebody in press versus your best receiver over here that he can beat before you would have your quarterback throw that. You'd rarely have the quarterback pick up this post route on his own. That would probably be more so suited to a coach up in the box that says, hey, the safety is trying to rob the dig. I think we can hit the post over top. And then you can tell your quarterback from the sideline that's what you're thinking, and then he can peek at it the next time you call it. Again, we can run these shallows from any receiver, but depending on your practice time and whether or not they can run a dig or run a shallow will determine who runs what for your team. So if you've only got one really good true dig route runner, then that's going to limit how many guys you have run your shallows and vice versa. Okay, if you don't have a lot of guys that are fast and that can get across the field and aren't afraid to run across the field, because these guys will get hit every now and then, then you'll limit the number of guys that you do have run your shallows. But always is good to have it from both sides. So I'd like to have one guy from both sides run it. May run either Z shallow or Y shallow and H shallow, or Y shallow and X shallow, or whatever the combination may be, but have it come from one side, have one come from each side if you can. Another little nuance on the shallow route itself, defenses have seen this a lot now, and they'll have linebackers tell these guys, anybody that comes across, to just go ahead and knock the hell out of them. So one little thing you can do is anytime that the receiver sees a linebacker that eyeballs him and looks like he's going to try to collision him, is to actually try to step up and run kind of to him, gain a little bit of ground, freeze that linebacker and actually have him start to lose a little ground, then snap it off across his face and then get back into your shallow route. So one little trick there to make sure that they can get across the field, even if they're going to be running against a collision type linebacker. Again, the F's going to run a shoot route. He's going to check release, so he's 1,000, 1,002. He's going to check release. He's going to run his shoot route, which is at 3 to 5 yards depth, and he always wants to get to the numbers or wider before he sits it down, and then when he sits it down, he just faces the quarterback each time. Okay, quarterback's eyes will always start at the whole player away from the shallow. So shallow route is over here, Z is on the right, so his eyes should be on the whole player to the left on his drop for his 3 steps, and that will tell him whether the shallow route will be open or not. Okay, so if the dig route runner does his job and he goes to the outside shoulder pad and he turns this whole defender, or this whole defender turns and runs with the dig route runner, then we know we've got grass right here and we can throw the shallow route. If the dig route runner does a bad job, or he does turn him, but the whole player is determined to play this part of the field, and he plays it hard anyway instead of bailing or going to the flats, then we know the shallow route is done, and we can come off that shallow route and go look at the dig route right away. Okay, so that's how that works. Again, Going to read the whole player on the drop and see what he does, and that will dictate whether or not we can throw this shallow route. So the quarterbacks, the common thing you'll see with quarterbacks is they'll just stare at the shallow on the drop. You'll see them throw the shallow route right in here somewhere around the center, which is always wrong. They shouldn't even see the shallow route till just as he's getting ready to come out of the tackle box, and right in here should be about the earliest that he should catch the ball. Okay, so we'll look at a couple. Here's a go route, a pre-snap go route from Z shallow, from a shallow coming from the right. So you'll see the quarterback take a 3-step drop. See the quarterback take a 3-step drop, and he'll hinge, fire his feet, get the ball out high and outside on the pre-snap go there. And now we have a pre-snap post route. As you can see, the safeties are down low. Quarterback sees that the safety's going to flat foot here and gets right by him, is able to throw it over top. You can see that both safeties saw the dig coming. Both safeties tried to jump the dig, and we're able to get the post over top. And here's the shallow route. Okay, so remember, the quarterback's eyes should start over here. We don't have a true hole player. We've got this safety who's going to step down and become the hole player, but the quarterback's eyes should start here. If he stays at depth, then we know we've got this grass right here for the shallow. You can see his eyes do turn this way, and as you see this play develop, you see that there is grass right here for the shallow route. He comes off of the hole player on his 3rd step, sees the shallow, and is able to throw the shallow route. And again, you see the alignment of this play is really good right here, because you see that he's about 10 yards from the tackle, which is good. So anybody that was playing that hole would have to show their hand if they were going to blitz. He has condensed his splits down to where he's only 3 to 5 yards, maybe even 6 yards from the tackle, so that he can get across quick. He starts off at the depth of the heels of the lineman. He does kind of level off a little bit, where he could keep gaining a little bit of ground, but it still works out just fine. Again, the quarterback 3rd step drop comes off of that and hits the shallow. The other thing you tell your shallow guys to do is, even if they catch the ball, once they catch the ball, sprint to the numbers, and then get upfield. Okay, he does a good job of that right here. And here we have the dig. Okay, and what we want to see from this dig, again, we've got good spacing right here. We've got great spacing from the tackle to the dig runner. We want to see him go through this outside pad, see him turn that defender if we can, and then break that dig off flat to downhill is what we want to see here. Comes off, he does get through the outside pad, and as you can see, he drops that shoulder and gets great pad level, runs through that contact, and as you can see that you can barely tell, but that defender is going to play him tough, and he's just going to sit right here in this spot, which as long as the quarterback's got his eyes out here right now on his 3-step drop, he knows that if he sits in that spot, then he's going to blow his shallow route runner up. So he comes off of the shallow right away, and as you can see, that defender still stayed in that hole, so he comes off the shallow right away and is able to hit the dig. Watch that again. Gets through the outside pad, comes off of the hole player, comes off the shallow, and goes to the dig. And then we come to the shoot. So the quarterback's going to read the hole player on his drop. Read the hole. He doesn't like the shallow for whatever reason. I guess he sees the safety coming down and he doesn't like that. He doesn't like the dig. That is a cloudy picture right there. So he comes off the dig, and then he finds his shoot over here and throws the shoot. Shallow, dig, shoot. And then same thing from the left side now. Okay, we got it from the inside receiver here. Again, the receiver on the same side as the shallow will run the post. Okay, the receiver on the same side as the dig will run the go. And the same thing with the quarterback. Now the quarterback's eyes will start to the right side now. Read the hole player to the right side, then come back and find his shallow route. And again, he should see that shallow route just as he starts to pop out of the tackle box here. And again, we want to see that shallow route gain just a little bit of ground. If he gets to the opposite hash here, he should be at 5 to 6 yards. Here we'll start out with the shallow. This is H shallow. So the quarterback's eyes should start right, and they do. His eyes are out here reading this whole player. He doesn't do a great job of getting to this guy doesn't do a great job of getting to the outside pad, but he does run with him. He does run with him, and he sticks him and does a good job of running his dig route, and he clears out, but he doesn't do a great job of getting through his outside pad. But the quarterback does a good job getting his eyes over here. He sees the whole player. He knows he's gone, and as you can see, he throws the shallow route, and you can tell that the shallow route is just now starting to come out of this tackle box here. Runs all the way to the numbers and then gets up the field. Here's the dig. Again, got great spacing here. Got at least 10 yards from the tackle to the Y. He's going to work, get through this outside pad. He's going to get through the outside pad of this defender, and again, he's going to work flat to downhill. Doesn't do a great job. As you can see, he doesn't collision. We'd like to see him collision and turn his hips right there and get his eyes away from this shallow route that's coming right now. He doesn't do a great job of that. And the quarterback, by reading that whole player on the drop, can see all of that happen and knows right now that he needs to come off of the shallow route and then get back onto the dig route. And now he sees the grass on the dig. Dig route does a good job of getting flat, doesn't drift upfield, stays flat. As you can also see on the back side of this, you can see this linebacker come down and collision the shallow route runner. And then here, instead of running a shoot, we've run a swing, which is the same effect, still trying to spread the field. Make the defense cover sideline to sideline. Quarterback gets in trouble, and when he gets in trouble, we always tell him to find the back. He got in trouble. I don't know why. He's got grass here. The shallow was open, but I guess he felt pressure, came off, and found his back. Here's another shallow coming from the left. As you can see, slightly gaining ground as he comes across. Gets to the numbers and then gets up the field. One more dig. Shallow's coming from the left, dig will be from the right. And as you can see right now, the Y did not do a very good job of getting through the outside pad and turning this defender away from the shallow coming to him, and he actually cuts his route off and just breaks it across in front of him. So that kind of screws the shallow route coming, so the quarterback comes off of that early. And that is the 91 or smash or high-low, or now Tony calls it wide. Is the old smash concept that has been around for a long time. A couple different ways to do it. Tony's kind of changed the way that he reads it now. I think I would keep it the way we've always done it in high school, and maybe mess around with the low routes a little bit. But in essence, it's the old smash route. You're going to read the high to the low to the check down. The high route could be a corner or a post. The low route can be a bunch of different things. And we will we'll look at several of those as we go through the cut-ups here. And then a check down. And then you could have a pre-snap read on the backside of pre-snap post if you like that. But the low route, again, can be one of several things. Could be a wide hitch, could be an in-out, could be a whip route, could be a fast screen, could be a hit, could be a hitch return, could be a lot of different things. And we've looked at a bunch of different ones over the years. The base smash route concept and is fairly simple. It's an easy read for the quarterback if they'll do it. My suggestion is if you got a young quarterback, or if you've got young players, middle school to freshmen or something like that, for your low route, I would just run the fast screen. Fast hands, fast feet, turn and catch is how I would do it, because what you want the quarterback to read, you want him to see if this outside defender, if he's going to bail, or if he's going to play down on the screen. And then if you just run the fast screen, this guy makes a decision a whole lot quicker than if you do anything to where you drive up the field at all. And I think what happens with younger quarterbacks is they hold the ball a little bit too long, and they miss out on some throws because they can't tell exactly what that defender in that deep third or that quarter or whatever this defender may be covering over here is covering. So I think starting out, I like this running the fast screen right here. And then you've got your 10-yard corner by the inside receiver. And again, our corner route rules are if we're outside the 25, then our aiming point is the front pylon. If we're inside the 25-yard line, it's to the back pylon. And as we get closer to the end of the field towards the goal line, then we would adjust those routes accordingly, and we'll also adjust the quarterback's drops. But anyway, it's a 3-step drop for the quarterback. On his third step, he should know whether he's throwing to the high right now or he's throwing to the low right now, and the ball should come out. It should be that simple for him to the play side, okay? So we're going to read the corner, 10-yard corner to the low route, whatever your low route may be. In this case, it's an in-out, drive up 3, in 3, and then whip back outside. In many cases, you'll see a wide hitch, which is a 5 or 6 yard hitch. It's only 1 or 2 yards from the sideline. Okay, and then we have our check down, which you want your check down if you're going to be an ace and you're going to run it like this. You need your check down to be on the same side as the corner, so that he doesn't get in the way of the slant to the back side. Okay, so check down is the same as it has been in the other plays we've discussed. 1001, 1002 check down. And then again, if it's man, either break it in or break it out. In this case, I would tell him to always break it outside because of the slant coming from the other side. So, but he can do it either way. If it's man, he just needs to work leverage and break it inside or outside. On the back side, we've got a pre-snap 10-yard post. Okay, so at 10 yards, we'll break the post off, which is fine versus if you've got one safety, which is good. If you with your eyes, as the quarterback drops, if he can move that safety at all, then a lot of times he can fit that post in. Okay, so it's good to have that backside post if you can do it, and you got a good post runner. And then the inside receiver to the backside is going to run either your 1-step or your 3-step slant. Again, in high school, I'm a fan of the 3-step slant. I think that gives the quarterback enough time to catch the ball, grip it, and work his feet and get the ball out, as opposed to the 1-step slant where I don't know that they have the time to be able to make a good effective throw. So that's the basic smash or wide or 91 concept. Again, is going to read the high to the low to the check down to the check down. Again, this slant to the backside wouldn't cross the center if he doesn't get the ball, and he would run his check down. Okay. So here we're going to throw to the corner. We're inside the 25-yard line here, so the receiver is going to run to the back pylon. For these purposes, I'll show it to the opposite side. So if we're inside the 25-yard line, we're going to break that off, and our aiming point is going to be to the back pylon there. Okay. If we were outside the 25-yard line, we'd break that off to the front pylon here. Okay, and that's what we mean when we talk about that. The other thing is, we get down in here, if you get inside the 15-yard line to the 10-yard line, we're going to change the quarterback's drops a little bit, and the depth of the routes are going to change a little bit. Probably won't push it to a full 10. Probably get it at about 8 or 9 now, and then break it to the outside. And as we move closer into the end towards the goal line, then we'll adjust those routes accordingly as well. But in here, what we would do with the quarterback is do an open shuffle. Once it gets inside probably the 15 to the 10-yard line, we would do what we call an open shuffle drop with the quarterback instead of his traditional 3-step drop. And by that, what we're going to do is take one big open step, fire the feet, and if he likes this first read, this corner read right now, he's going to throw the ball up right now. Okay, if he doesn't, then he'll shuffle, and he'll get to his depth where he would have been on his 3-step drop. Okay, here we can probably still take a 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3. The ball should come out. Should be able to read if this defender is going to bail or if he's going to bite on the low route and get the ball out quickly. Okay, on the 3rd step, the ball should come out to the play side if that's what we're going to read. So 1, 2, 3, fire the feet, and the ball's out quick. Like to see that ball with a little bit more air get it out a little quicker, get it out with a little bit more air, and drop that ball right back here on this back pylon. But still got a touchdown out of it. Same thing here. Gonna take a 3-step drop, fire the feet, get the ball nice and high to the outside. If we miss, I always tell the quarterbacks, if we miss this ball, to me this is an inside miss. I'd rather miss it to the outside, and by that I mean I want to throw it right at that pylon, but if I miss this throw, I'd rather miss it to the outside over here instead of missing it to the inside where he can get help. Okay, still not bad. The timing's good. It's over his outside shoulder, and everything works fine. Now we're going to go to our low route here, and you can do, like we said, you can do several different things on the low route. All right, we can do like I said, you can do a fast screen. You can do a wide hitch out here. Okay, you can do the in out like we showed on the picture, or you can squeeze in the formation, and you can run what Tony calls a snap route, which is basically just the quick out. It's a 3 to 5 yard quick out right here, and that's what we've got on this play. So we've got the snap route. So we've still got our 10-yard corner, and then we've got our low route as our snap route. The quarterback takes a 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3, gets the ball out real quick on the 3rd step. Now we've got another low route. Now we've got the wide hitch. Okay, so should wind up being only about a yard from the sideline on the wide hitch. Get a 1, 2, 3, read the high, don't like the high, throw down to the low right now. Another wide hitch here. A lot of guys have liked the wide hitch a lot. Again, he's working at 1 to 2 yards from the sideline. You see lots of grass there as that corner bailed, so it's a nice easy throw for the low route. Out of a 3x1 set, you can do a couple different things. Basically this stays the same as with what we did before. So we've got our in out or our low route by the number 1 receiver. You can have number 2 run the high route, or in this case you can have number 3 run the high route. It doesn't matter. The other one's going to run the slant, or he can run an out. You know, there's a bunch of different things you can do, but to keep it consistent, especially early on and with young guys, to keep it consistent, I would do it like this. Either have the number 2 receiver and number 3 receiver run the deep route, and then have the other one run the slant like we've shown here, and then again that slant would turn into a check down if he were to get to the center. Okay, and then we still have our backside pre-snap post on this. And again, like I said, you can do it with number 2 or number 3, so it doesn't matter. It's still the same thing. And in this case, we want to have our F away from the trip side so he doesn't run his check down right into that slant. So here we go with the pre-snap post. So what you want to see as we watch this cut up, what we would like to see is that this quarterback on his drop is that he tries to move this safety over with his eyes by reading. You know, he's going to read this corner route to the deep route to the opposite side of that safety and try to move that safety over with his eyes, and then be able to throw the post in back behind it. And there the safety starts to rotate, moves him with his eyes, and he's able to throw the ball in and beat the safety with the throw. And now we have a shoot route on the backside. This is just a different tag to the backside of this instead of the post. Tony's running a snap route to the backside of it. And as you can also see, he's running the spot route with the F out of this as well. And so he's just trying to put this hole or flat defender in a bind, and the quarterback wanted to read the backside of this and was able to find the shoot on that, or the snap route. Okay. Now we'll go to the corner route. The corner route's going to be by number 2, and here we are at the about the 5-yard line here. So he's only going to drive up maybe 1 to 2 steps here and stick this route, and then work to the back pylon. The quarterback again should just take a 1 step, maybe shuffle another step, and then get the ball out quickly. One step, shuffle, get the ball out quick. And again, puts that right on the back pylon. And as you watch, he gets up about 2 to 3 steps. The corner route runner 1, 2, 3 stick, ball's out now. So he had to adjust the depth of his route here because of where he is on the field. Quarterback has to adjust his drop because of where he's at on the field. So he takes about a 1-step with a shuffle or a 2-step drop is all, and gets the ball out quicker. Okay, same thing to the right side. Out of trips, can do the same thing here. We're showing it with the wide hitch instead of the in-out route, and still have the backside post. Here's the backside post on it. Again, we should see the quarterback try to move a safety if there are any. It looks like it's zero coverage, so he should stem, work his way inside here, and then snap his post off. If he can beat that leverage, then we've got a good play. He works, stems him, and he's able to beat him over top. Again, he beats him over top for the post throw, for the pre-snap post throw. Here you're going to see the in-out is the low throw, or the whip. So he's going to drive up 3, in 3, and then whip back outside. And again, you can see the deep route was covered, so able to throw the whip route underneath. And then here, we've got deep route by number 2, and just going to run the stick route by number 3 here, and then run the in-out route by number 1. Quarterback 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3. He had his choice there. He had grass all the way out through here. Could have thrown to the low or to the stick. Again, out of trips. Again, you can run the stick. So you're going to read the high to the low to the stick to the check down, and he should actually be on this side and run his check down. The F should be, that's a bad drawing. He should be away from the trip side, running the check down. Here again is a pre-snap post. Quarterback should try to move this safety with his eyes. He does. Is able to get the post in underneath. And then to the corner route. 1, 2, 3. Third step, that corner should be out. As you can see, he turns him to the sideline with the throw. He throws him open. Probably not the best read, but he was able to throw him to the sideline and still complete the pass. And then we got the wide hitch for the low. So on the third step, quarterback should come off the deep route, come immediately to the low route, and get the ball out. So 1, 2, 3, come off the high route, get the low route out right now, and give him a chance to make a play. And then we have the stick route. So read the high route, low route, stick route. Again, you get the backside post. And here, one of the easier ways to do this is just call what we high-low double or wide double or 91 double, however you want to call it, and have the high-low to both sides. If you've got a quarterback that can pick, can read coverages and read leverages and see his grass, gives him a good way to just put it on him or on you. But you can call double, and he can just read it to either side. So here we go with 91 double. Quarterback has decided to read the right side. He's going to read the high first to the low. A 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3, likes the high route, gets the ball out now. And he throws it a little bit short and throws him more to the sideline because he felt like this corner or this safety had help over top, so he throws him open by throwing him more to the sideline. And then we have the low route. 1, 2, 3, read the high to the low, which is the wide hitch, high. As you can see, he's got soft coverage on the outside there and got a high safety, so it's a pretty easy read to know to throw the low right there. And now we do another low with the snap route or the out route. 1, 2, 3, doesn't like the high, gets the low out right now. and then we get another low with the wide hitch. 1, 2, 3. Don't like the high, come down to the low hitch right away, or the wide hitch, I mean. One of the tags off of this is the cop route tag, and cop means corner post. Okay, so we've tagged the Y on the corner for 3 steps and then the post. Okay, so that's the cop route. Alright, so we're still going to read if that's our tag. Okay, the tag means we think that's going to be open. Doesn't mean that it's 100% sure that it's going to be open and that the quarterback should throw it no matter what. That just means that it could be open. The way we read this is opposite of that cop route. So I'm going to read the high-low. I'm going to read the high route opposite. We would throw this cop route. Normally we would throw this cop route versus 2 safeties. And what we're trying to do is be able to split these 2 safeties with the cop route. But we want to read the opposite side first because we want to make sure that this safety opens his hips and runs and doesn't rotate into cover 3. Okay, so on the drop, the quarterback's going to read opposite of the cop route tag call. So he's going to read the H here on his corner route. If that's there, if there's grass there and he's got the touchdown, go on and throw it. Okay, just go on and throw it. After that, if the safety, he knows the safety opens up and runs with the corner route over top, then he knows he's got the middle of the field open. Then he comes back and looks to his cop route. And on the cop route, we're going to go up to 8 to 10 yards and stick the corner route for 3 steps, re-stick, and get back up underneath this safety and get vertical again. Okay, that's the cop route. And then we've got low routes on each end, by outside receivers on each side, and then got our check down again by our back in the backfield. So here's the cop route. So the quarterback should start. He should start over here. Make sure this safety opens his hips and runs with the corner route or the deep route opposite of the cop route first. Then come back to the cop route. Freeze play. And the quarterback comes out, drops, sees the corner to this side, sees if the safety opens his hips here. He does. So now he knows he's got this middle of the field open, and then he comes back to the cop route. Okay, now let's watch the cop route. At 10, he sticks the post, boom, boom, 3 steps. The corner for 3 steps, and then re-sticks the post, comes back up underneath the safety, comes back underneath the deep safety, and is able to make the play. You see the quarterback, his eyes should start right. His eyes should start right on the drop. 1, 2, 3, sees the safety move, comes back to the left, and fits the ball in on the cop route. This is a different tag that Tony used last year, and then all he did was just, instead of running the slant, he just ran a crossing route, and the quarterback still read high-low to the crosser. Just show you one of these real quick. And excuse me here just a second. So he ran the high-low to the right with a crosser coming from the left, and you can see the picture of it here. We just wound up throwing the low on it, but you'll see that he runs his under Sam over Mike and then snaps it across the top here. Under Sam, over Mike, and run the low route. Another tag is the high-low double switch, or the wide switch, which just means, basically I think he calls this now, he calls it shake. Again, this is good versus 2 safeties. And really what you're going to do is you're going to switch routes with the inside and outside receiver. Outside receiver is now going to run the deep route. Inside receiver is now going to run the low route. And the low route can be basically whatever you want it to be. It can be a bubble, it can be a shoot route, or a snap route, as Tony calls it now. And then this shake route is a corner route. I want to try to break it at 10, but they're going to push this in right and try to break down the leverage of the safety to their side, then stick it and then break it back out at the appropriate pylon, front or back pylon. F still has his check down rules, and the quarterback in this case is going to pick up whichever side that he likes and read the high to the low. Same thing, just getting to it from 2 different places. So here we're going to run this shake route. As you see, this outside receiver is going to run his corner route off of the safety. So he's going to push it inside, stick it at 10, and then break it outside underneath that safety. Again, the quarterback should take 3-step drop. He's reading the high, 1, 2, 3 on the 3rd step, fire his feet, and throw to the deep route right there. And then here's a bubble off of that, or a low route. He reads the high, and as you can see, the corner bailed, so there's no way to throw the high route. But by running the shake route with the outside receiver, has occupied that safety as well. So now you've got plenty of room to throw the low. So another little tag off of that. The most common, or the most tag that we've used a lot, that has scored a lot of touchdowns for a lot of guys, and is usually only used against cover 2 or some really bad cover 4 teams, is what we call our sluggo tag. And there's a couple little nuances to the sluggo. We want to read it like we did the cop tag we talked about a few minutes ago. We're going to start out wherever we call the sluggo route, which is basically just a post route. But wherever we call the sluggo, whoever's tagged on the sluggo, we're going to read the opposite side first. So in this case, we've got ace 91 double X sluggo, or ace wide double X sluggo. And what we want to do is we're going to read the corner route to the right first. We got to make sure that that safety opens his hips and runs so that we can open up the middle of the field. What we want to throw this post route to the X right here, and we want to split the safeties and be able to get the touchdown, get an easy touchdown throw in there. So again, as the quarterback drops, he's going to read the corner opposite of the sluggo and read the safety, and make sure that safety opens his hips and runs with the corner route. And again, if that corner is there, if that corner route is there for the touchdown, go on and throw it. The sluggo concept itself, we want to be able to read the quarterback. Want him to be able to read these two routes basically at one time. But the way this works is you want to have the corner route runner be on the line of scrimmage, and the post runner, the sluggo runner, off the line of scrimmage. And the width between these two is going to depend on the speed of the two, and I'll explain that to you in a second. The dig route run, or the corner route runner on this, his wristband or his rule would be 10 corner hold, HOLD, which means that instead of just breaking this route off at 10, I want to hold the safety's attention, and I may take this up to as much as 15 to where I can almost step on his toes, and then I can stick that route, and I want him to run with me. The hold route means I want to hold the safety's attention and make him run with me. Okay, that's the corner route. That's the corner route's responsibility. The post route, or the sluggo route, his responsibility is he's got to set his depth, or his width from the corner route runner, so that he can almost be in trail position and be at full speed, that when the corner sticks his foot in the ground, he sticks his foot in the ground and runs his dig, or his post route. So if the sluggo runner is a lot faster than the corner runner, then he needs to be wider from him. Okay, if he's a lot slower, or they're about the same, then he needs to be closer to him. But what we want is the corner route runner to be a step or 2 steps ahead of the post route runner when he sticks his foot in the ground, and then both be at full speed. Okay, one of the common things you'll see is the sluggo guy will be too wide, and as he comes in here, when he sticks his foot in the ground to run his post, he winds up running it really flat or fat, and almost runs into this other safety on the other side of the field, and that's what you don't want. You want him to be in here nice and tight, almost in trail position, so when he sticks that post, it's more vertical than it is fat. We don't want him to get we don't want him to get over to the other hash or to the other safety in this route. So you got to play with the width of those two receivers right there. Again, the quarterback's going to drop. His eyes are going to read opposite of the sluggo. Make sure the safety opens his hips. Then he knows he's got the middle of the field, and that's what he's trying to hit. And then we tell this sluggo runner to stay skinny. When we say skinny, we mean if we had uprights out here, we don't want him to get inside the upright to his side. We want him to stay even with that upright to the outside of his upright. So we tell the quarterback to throw him there as well, because you'll see a lot of times the quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, they'll wind up throwing the ball. They'll see him start to come across the field, and they'll just lead him all the way over to the other safety. So we don't want that. Quarterback 3-step drop. Read the corner opposite. If it's there, throw it. Throw the touchdown now. If not, come back, throw the touchdown here with the sluggo route. But when he comes back to read this on his second read, want him to read this whole concept. So if this safety does rotate or come over and run with the sluggo route or the post route, be able to throw the corner route away from him. And then you've got your two low routes to come back down to. You got your two check downs if you need them, if all else fails. And again, this is a cover 2 beater, our best cover 2 beater, and it's good versus bad cover 4 sometimes too. So here you're just going to see him come to the low route. And Tony usually freezes before he calls sluggo. He wants to make sure he feels comfortable he's got cover 2. So the quarterback should read. And what happens is we've got Z sluggo called here. So we've got corner here. And we've got post here. So he's reading the high over here, and he notices he's got the low route right away. So he throws the low route opposite right away. Okay, now we've got X sluggo like we drew up a second ago. So the quarterback's eye should start here on this deep route and then come back to the sluggo. One, two, three, comes off, sees the safety open his hips, and comes back and is able to throw the post over top. The safety rotated to the middle of the field, and we got one safety actually. In this case, if this happens to you and if you make this call and you just have one safety, one single safety out here, and you didn't freeze before you made this call, you need to tell your post runner to turn that into a dig and just come underneath that safety. In this case, the safety just kind of flat-footed, and he was able to get over top of him, and it wound up working for him anyway. But really what you want to see, if you want to teach off of this film right here, what you want to see is the spacing right here and the way that they cut this off of each other right here. So you want to watch that route. As you see, they're in trail position right here, a step or two steps apart. And when he sticks his foot in the ground for the corner, he's going to stick his foot in the ground for the post. And then we've got some space in here if the quarterback keeps him skinny. And again, here we go with Z sluggo. Got the Z tagged on the sluggo now, so the quarterback should start over here. And here again, we're in a 2 safety look this time, so we should be able to see if this safety opens his hips and takes himself out of the play. And again, it's a good time to freeze before you call this. The quarterback looks, the safety opens his hips right here. He's opened his hips and he's taken himself out of the play. We just made our cut here, so we've got our post open. The quarterback's able to throw the post now for a big play. Watch that again. We'll watch the sluggo route itself. Watch that X get right into trail position and cut right off of the Z. Watch the Y. Z cut right off of the Y here. Z works himself inside, gets in trail, cuts right off of the Y's rear end on his corner into his post and takes it vertical. Here you can watch the quarterback's eyes should start left. Make sure that safety opens up and opens the middle of the field. His eyes are left, comes off of it. Now you can see the sluggo open up and got a good play. Here again, Z sluggo. Quarterback's eyes should start left. As you can see, Tony freezes pretty much every time he calls sluggo. Eyes start left, come off of the deep route, find the sluggo. Again, watch these guys get almost into trail position here. Stick, and get vertical, and you got a good play. Again, cover two, great cover two beater. Great cover two beater. Here's a couple cop routes. Again, here's a cop route with what we called X hold. This is for this is if you were to see some Tampa 2. This is if you're going to see some Tampa 2. This hold route here would hold that mic, and you can still work your cop route in just like we talked about a few minutes ago. Still going to read opposite of the cop route. Make sure the safety opens his hips, and then come back into the cop route if you're worried about cover 2. This takes care of that cover 2. I mean Tampa 2. If that mic does turn and drop and run anyway, then you've got somebody to fill that hole right there too. So it's a good play versus Tampa 2 for you right here. Again, we've got the cop route. We got the cop route to the top side. Quarterback should read opposite. He likes the corner route opposite right now, and he's able to throw him open right there. So that works out for them there. And then here is the cop route itself. Push up to 10, show the corner for 3, 1, 2, 3, then re-stick and run the post. So that's the cop route. Again, right here, see stick. See him stick it at 10, 1, 2, 3, stick it again and run the post and keep it skinny. And got another good play there. All right, trying to find, here we go. This is another one of the plays that we can use that has been very effective as a rollout or sprint out package. What we call rodeo and lasso. Remember, rodeos roll out right, lassos roll out left. In this case, unlike what we did with 63 rodeo or lasso, or the out rodeo or lasso, where we started out with flat steps by the quarterback and then got depth. The quarterback's going to go ahead and start with depth on this because we're going to read a high route first. We like to run this a lot of times out of trips, and we can just read it high, medium, and low as the quarterback rolls. Okay, and then we'll have a drag, 2 to 6 drag coming from the backside like we did. Just like we did on 63 rodeo and lasso, or the out rodeo lasso. Now, great play if you've got a quarterback that can run, because this is a great run pass option deal. Get him out on the perimeter, and if everybody's covered, then he just tucks it and runs. But it's also just an effective play if you've got an average quarterback that can at least get out of the pocket. And you do need to move the pocket some, especially if your offensive line is struggling with the defensive line, and it's good to always have some rollout stuff in your game plan just to keep the defense guessing, keep them honest, and just give them some different looks. So this rollout, high-low rollout or wide rollout and lasso is what we're going to show you here. And again, we're going to read the high to the medium and then to the low, which can all be whatever you decide. And you could have the high route with the inside guy, the medium route with number 2, and the low route with number 3. So a bunch of different ways to do this, but basically we're just going to flood that zone of the field and just go from high to low with the read progression. Here we go. Here with lasso, I'm going to roll out left, and again the quarterback's going to open up at about a 45, lose ground right away. The F just protects the edge. The running back's job is to protect the edge, so he's any opposite color or blitz coming off of the play side edge is what he wants to protect. We don't pick up the backside DN, so the quarterbacks need to know they can never stop. As they begin to roll, they've got to keep running. When they find their target, they just want to open their chest to the target, fire their feet, throw, and then their throw should make them follow the football if they do everything right. And they should wind up running right towards where the football was. That's a good throw to the front pylon. then we're on to the second read now. It's going to read the high to the medium. And in this case, we had a little bit of play action in it. As you can see, the quarterback and the F made just a quick little play fake, and the F was able to pick up the backside pressure, which was a game plan adjustment for this game. And then the quarterback rolls, reads high to medium, and now he comes down to the low. So you're going to read, got to freeze, move the F to the play side so he can help work the edge. Quarterback lose ground, read high, medium, low, get it out now, and got a nice play. And then now we've got the drag. High, medium, low, drag. You don't want to see your quarterback stop and set up here because he's going to take a big shot, which this one does too. You want him to keep moving. On the drags here, they ran kind of a post dig, which was a game plan for this game. On your drags, you'd rather see them drag and then level off here, and you need to tell them they need to bust their tail because they need to get in the quarterback's line of sight, because you don't want the quarterback to stop and have to turn and throw. You want him to be able to see him and still be able to throw and hit him on the run. But again, we got the fourth read in the progression, which is what we were trying to show, and they hit the deep drag on that. And then we can go to the right side. Rodeo, same thing, roll out to the right. Again, the F's going to protect the edge. Anything that shows off this edge or blitz or whatever is what he's going to pick up, and then he's just going to continue to work and basically be the quarterback's personal protector there. Okay, so here we've got the high route. Quarterback roll to the right, throw the high route. Again, you can see where he kind of throws him to the sideline a little bit more to get him underneath that coverage. And then you can watch the quarterback's feet. He should open up at a 45 and lose ground immediately. He starts out flat and then loses ground, which is the way we do the old 63 or out rodeo lasso. He should go ahead and lose ground. He should lose ground immediately right here. And then get his chest to the target. He does do a good job of getting his chest to the target. Fires his feet, and as he throws, he can follow the football, which should take him right to where he threw it. And now we go to the medium route. Another deep route throw, I'm sorry. Loses ground, gets his chest to the target, and that's a good throw to the back pylon. Now we got a low route. Roll out high, medium, low. Get it out, and that was a huge play in the bowl game a few years ago. And now we've got the drag. High, medium, low, drag, and this time, as you can see, they are just kind of doing some walkthrough stuff, so it's not completely full speed, but as you can see, he does keep moving this time. He doesn't stop, and the drag is able to get in his field of vision, and he's able to find him without having to stop, and he gets his chest turned. As you can see, he does get his chest turned to the target and gets the ball out to his target. So nice job on working on the working back to the drag there. Can do this out of ace. Can do this out of a 2x2 set. Same thing, just got to read high-low and then run. This is good if you've got a wildcat quarterback, or you've got a quarterback that can run. This is an easy high-low. If you like it, throw it. If not, run it. Great deal for on the goal line. Same thing here out of ace. Again, we've got a quarterback that can run a little bit. He reads high to low, gets the low out quick, and turns it into an easy play. Plus, it's a tendency breaker if you do it out of a 2x2 set from time to time. Here's a different low route. Here's an in-out route out of the rollout rodeo high-low with a whip route or an in-out route. And then here's a lasso, out of ace, okay, against Nevada this past season. Again, he gets great leverage here. They're out of sorts. They're obviously probably doing NASCAR here. They're a little bit out of sorts on defense, but as this safety comes over, he does get great leverage on him and is able to stick it and work to the back pylon. And again, it's a quick, easy read. And if you've got a quarterback again that can run, it's fine to do this out of a two by two set. And again, he threw him open. One last one. See how the quarterback loses ground already and gets his chest to the target. That's a great picture of this. Quarterback opens up at a 45, loses ground right away. When he sees his open receiver, he gets his chest to the target, fires his feet, gets the ball out right away for a nice easy touchdown. And then here's the low route out of the same thing. Same look out of a 2 by 2 set. And there's the low route. Again, he loses ground immediately. Doesn't like the high route, but sees the low route right now, is able to get it off to him right away. To where mesh is a one of the staple plays of the system here, and it's personally one of my favorite plays because it's effective versus every coverage, every spot in the field, and pretty much any situation that you can find yourself in during a game. So to me, it's an integral part of the offensive package, and I believe in it, and think that it's something that you should use and run multiple times a game and out of multiple formations, and especially in high school. And I know that Tony's gotten away from it in the last few years, and which in turn a lot of high school guys have gotten away from it a little bit too. But and there are some nuances, there are some detailed things that make this play more effective than not. But it is a base play. It's an easy play to read for the quarterback. It's not a very difficult play to run either. But and again, it's good versus any coverage. So it is something you should spend some time on. I think you should do it every day. You may only run it one or two ways, which is fine as well. We're going to show you some multiple ways to do it, and some different tags and that kind of thing off of it. But again, it is a good play versus any coverage, and is one that I think you should put some time into each day, and try to make it part of your base package. So anyway, the concept of mesh is the progression, reprogression is the high, which usually is a corner unless we tag it. So it's corner, play side mesh, play side back, backside mesh, backside back is how we read it. If you get into the trip set, then the reads change just a touch, but it's not that big a deal, and doesn't matter who runs the high route. The quarterback still reads it the same way. He's going to read the corner or the post, the high route to the play side mesh, to the play side back, the backside mesh to the backside back. So here's the basic look for it. Again, we've got you've got this one is Ace 92Y. As you can see at the top there, it says 92Y, which saying Y is telling if it's tagged, that's indicating who's going to run the deep route. And so here's regular 92. If we just said 92, it would be the Z. If we tag anybody, then they would run the deep route. But if we just say mesh or just say 92, then the Z is designated to run the deep route. The deep route is always a corner unless we tag it. So here in base Ace 92 or Ace mesh, the Z has his 10-yard corner, following the same corner rules as always. Outside the 25 to the front pylon, inside the 25 to the back pylon. And then you can decide how you want to run the mesh concept with who you want to run it with. There's a couple different ways to do that. Typically, traditionally, we've run it with out of this set, out of Ace, we run the mesh with the X and the Y. H doesn't run the mesh. H always runs a shoot, unless he's tagged on something different. He always runs a shoot. But Y and X run the mesh. And couple major pointers about the mesh. The mesher coming from the right side always goes over top. He's always the guy that goes over top. The mesher coming from the left side has to find him, get underneath him, and get so tight that they can actually slap hands as they come across. Now the mesher from the right, he sets the depth of the mesh, and we don't want it to be, if he gets right in front of the center, we don't want him to be any more than 6 yards deep. Now he can be less, he can come underneath some linebackers and be less than 6 yards, but we don't want him to be deeper than 6 yards. And then again, like I said, the mesher coming from the left side, his job is to make the mesh happen as fast and as tight as possible. So he has to bust his tail to find the Y or the mesher from the right side, get underneath him, slap hands, and make the mesh happen. Now, to make that happen, you've got to condense, you've got to cut the splits down. Typically, you don't want to be any more than probably 5 yards from the tackles for the meshers, so that they can get to the mesh as quickly as possible. It's a lot easier to read the faster that the mesh happens, and it's more effective the faster that the mesh happens. Once the mesh happens, once they get there, they need to find each other. Okay, the Y in this case, it's meshing over top. He needs to get to his mesh point. Make sure he finds the depth that he's going to get to, gets to his mesh point. They make the mesh happen. They find each other, make it nice and tight, and then at this point, they decide whether it's zone or man. As they're running the mesh route, they decide whether it's zone or man. But after the mesh happens, they at that point they have to decide whether they're going to continue to run if it's man, or if they're going to sit if it's zone, and then and only then will they turn and look to the quarterback. Okay, so they have to make the mesh happen before they ever look at the quarterback. If it's zone, once they mesh, if they see they've got linebackers that have dropped in zones here, once they've meshed and they see the zone, they can stick and stop and sit down at any of these holes here for the quarterback to read them. And then it's the quarterback's responsibility to get the ball to them and turn them away from the near defender. So like he would throw it in this case to the X here. He would throw it to his inside shoulder and try to turn him away from the hit coming from the outside there. So anyway, they make the mesh happen as fast as possible. If it's zone, then they find the grass and they sit in that grass and give their noose and their numbers to the quarterback. That's that way he knows that they're ready for the ball. If it's man, or if they're unsure, if they can't tell if it's man or zone, then they continue to run. So after they mesh, they continue to run, and as they run, after they get past the hash, they begin to slightly gain ground up the field a little bit like this. Okay, they make the mesh happen, get to the hashes, they can start to gain ground just a little bit here, and then the quarterback wants to lead them up the field a little bit with the ball. He doesn't want to burn it in there on a line drive. He wants to lead them up the field a little bit on a man mesh route, and we'll show some examples of that here shortly. Again, the splits are crucial to make sure that the mesh happens quickly. Excuse me. The quarterback would obviously take a 3-step drop unless you're a 5-step dropper. You got a kid with takes short steps, it would be a 3-step drop. But he's going to read the high route, which is the corner, and then he's going to read the play side mesh, which is actually the X here. So read the play side mesh to the backside mesh. To the play side. Excuse me. Let me start over here. We'll read the high route, the corner, to the play side mesh coming from the backside here. Okay, to the play side back who's running a swing route, to the backside mesh, and then to the backside back who's running the shoot route here. Okay, so that would be the read progression. Well, with the F running the swing route, it doesn't really work this way. It doesn't have that bend in it. What we would like for him to do is on his check release, he checks whatever blitz protection he may have, and then when he releases flat. He doesn't gain ground, and he doesn't stop until he gets to the numbers or wider. And then once that happens, he just turns and puts it and has his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. So if the quarterback throws him the ball, he can just lead him straight up the field, and he can see anything that's coming to him. So that's how we run the swing route. And as he leaves, once he's got 3 or 4 steps, he can check over his shoulder. Check over his shoulder every few steps to see if the quarterback's in trouble and needs to get rid of the ball quickly. And then over here with the H, running the shoot route, he's gonna let the mesh route go first. Let the mesh go first. So he'll foot fire until the mesh goes. Then he'll get his depth at 3 to 5 yards, and he will run his run his shoot until the numbers are wider, and then he will face the quarterback and wait if he hasn't gotten the ball yet. That's the base. That's the base 92. Here's 92Y again. Y now is running the deep route, and the deep route always goes first, and then the mesh route will go second. On that, everything else stays the same, so the reads don't change for the quarterback. And also the deep route always determines the play side. So when we talk about play side and backside, the play side is always determined by the deep route. Okay. And then if we go into trips, here we've got 92X. So now the X is going to run the deep route. So everything stays the same. We're just reading to the opposite side now. Okay, so still high, and then the play side mesh comes from the back side, and in trips we change the reads a little bit just because the shoot route will get there before the play side mesh does. So now we read the high to the play side back to the play side mesh to the back side mesh to the back side back. That's how we read this out of trips, just because this guy here can get there so much quicker, and it's a great play on the goal line a lot of times because you get a natural little pick, and this guy will come open, and it's a quick, easy throw for the quarterback. It's a good 2-point play, good goal line play out of trips. But those are the different ways you can do it. Now you can play with who runs the meshes, but that's the base way of how we've done it. Here is 92Y, and as you can see, we're on about the 9-yard line. So the route itself is going to get cut a little bit short, probably break it off at about 4 or 5 yards, and then break it to the back pylon because we're inside the 25. The quarterback may take a quick three-step drop here with short steps, but really should take one big open step, fire his feet, and get the ball nice and high to the back pylon right here. Takes 3 quick steps, ball nice and high, does get it out nice and quick. Again, 1, 2, 3, fires his feet, gets it out nice and quick, nice and high, and right on the back pylon. Here we've got the post tag. As you can see, even on it takes a 3-step drop here, even though they're inside the goal line or inside the 10-yard line. Should be a 1-step shuffle here on this. Quarterback waits on the post probably a little bit too long. Shouldn't be able to throw that on the 3rd step, but the good thing about it is you can see how this works down on the goal line and how effective it can be, because the Z here does a great job of getting inside leverage, does a great job of leaning on the defender, and then at the last second he breaks it off, pushes off a little bit with a little chicken wing, and gets into his post. Quarterback on this, though, especially where we're at on the field, should take a 1-step drop like I said. If he doesn't like this deep route by then, he should come off of it and start looking for the mesh here, okay, then the mesh there, and then the back. Alright, again, does a good job leaning, getting off of him, creating separation, and then the ball's there. And here's a play side mesh. Here's a play side mesh, so the quarterback should take a 3-step drop, or he should take an open shuffle, however he does it here. Should read the corner of the post here, and then come to the play side mesh. And you can see that the receiver's red man. This receiver read man, he continued to run, and he started to gain ground. You'd like to see the quarterback just put a little bit more air on that ball and just lead him just a little bit more. But as you can see, they continue to run now. They feel this guy bumping over top, so they continue to run, gain ground, and the quarterback leads him up the field. Again, you can watch what the quarterback sees here. Looks to snap in, 1, 2, 3, doesn't like the high route, and takes the play side mesh. Now we have play side back. So we'll read high, play side mesh, play side back. And again, he wants to get to the numbers or wider. He does a good job of not gaining ground as he runs his swing route. He checks over his shoulder a couple of times, checks here, checks there. Then the ball's there, his numbers are wider, and then his job is to make the first guy miss. Now we have a backside mesh throw. Looks like this is going to be a man throw as well. Read the high, not there. Play side mesh, not there. Play side back, not there. Backside mesh. And again, he kept running. Now what you can see here, this quarterback does a pretty good job, and hopefully your quarterbacks will get to this point as well, where they can just read the whole mesh as one route, one concept. They can see both of these guys come through here and know which one's going to be open. So he may skip the back and go just straight to the backside mesh, which is basically what happens here. As you watch, he sees it develop, knows that the backside mesh is going to be there before he even looks at the front play side back. So hopefully your quarterbacks can get to that point too. It's not something that we push. They're just able to figure it out. Here's a backside mesh versus zone. Again, you're going to read the high, play side mesh, play side back, backside mesh. And as you can see, he settles in the zone right here. Got the defender coming to his inside, the ball's thrown to his outside to turn him away from that near defender. And then he drop steps and gets straight up the field. And then in 3-by-1, which we talked about before, the reads change just a little bit. Now we read the high route first, and then we read the shoot second, the play side back second, then we read the play side mesh third. Okay, so that's the change there. We just switch play side mesh and play side back. So here's a post out of trips here. Quarterback takes a 1.5 step drop, gets the post out quickly. As you can see, this is really what you would get. This is more realistic and inside the 10-yard line. Basically a 1-step drop, fire the feet, and get the ball out quickly if you're going to throw the deep route. Good job there. You can see the quarterback again, look the ball in, 1 step, fire the feet, ball out. Now we have the corner, and as you watch here, you'll see that the corner route goes first. You'll see the corner route goes first, then the mesher, and then the shoot route comes out second or third. Okay, deep route, mesh, then back. This is the order of the progression there. That's how they release. Again, the quarterback 1, 2, 3, hinge, fire his feet, ball's out, working to the back pylon. And then we have the shoot. So you should read deep, 1, 2, 3 deep, and then to the shoot right away. Good timing on that. And then we come to the play side mesh. So it should take 3-step drop, read the high, play side back, play side mesh, and it's zone again. Zone again. We've got pressure from the outside here. Should throw him to the inside and turn him away from that near defender, and he does. And then we have a backside mesh. Looks like this is going to be man. High, play side back, play side mesh, backside mesh. And you see how he leads him up the field on this man route. As you can see, this linebacker bump over, and then he starts to close. He starts to try to close on him. As he bends it up the field, he's able to run away from him. And then the swing. 5th read in the progression here. High, back, mesh, mesh, back. One of the better tags off of this is works extremely well versus man. A lot of guys have scored some big plays, big touchdowns off of the post wheel tag off of mesh. Very effective, like I said, versus man or press. The idea is this: you want the post route to occupy the corner. See that corner's hips turn and come inside. and then we want to get the post or the wheel route up in behind that, up the top of the numbers. So the nothing changes as far as the routes, as far as the mesh is concerned. The deep route's still going to be the deep route, still break it at 10, keep it skinny as always on the post. And then the meshers do the same thing. They're still reading man or zone. They sit or they run depending on the coverage. In this case, we're in a 2-back set, so we would still have a shoot, or you could even wheel both backs out of the backfield. But a lot of times, since this takes a little bit more time to develop, guys like to run it with 2 backs and leave 1 back in to help with protection. And then on the wheel route itself, whether the wheel is coming from the backfield or whether the back is split out, still want to release wide, get about 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, get flat for 2 to 3 steps. Make sure you turn your eyes and your hands to the quarterback for 2 to 3 steps, and then after that, turn it and then get right up the top of the numbers. Okay, so always show your hands and your eyes to the quarterback when you run the wheel for at least 3 steps, and then get up the top of the numbers. Quarterback's going to read post to the wheel to the mesh to the mesh to the back. Okay, post, wheel, mesh, mesh, back. Post, wheel, mesh, mesh, back. And a lot of times on this wheel throw, Tony has started working on making it more of a back shoulder throw in case there's any help that comes over top. So a lot of these you'll see are short, and they're taught that way. They're back shoulder throws thrown here that kill the receiver and kill him to the outside. So that's what you'll see a lot of. Here's a wheel route coming out of the backfield. So read the post to the wheel. So reads the post. Now we just have pure man and try to chase him out of the backfield and just get it up over top. And then out of trips, the wheel's going to get there a little bit quicker than coming out of the backfield, but a lot of times coming out of the backfield, especially down on the goal line, is even better. But you've got the trips. So again, want to get depth 2 to 3 yards here on the shoot. Show the hands and the eyes. Go for 2 or 3 steps and then get up the top of the numbers. Quarterback again is going to read the high to the wheel to the mesh to the mesh to the back, and the back should be running his swing opposite of the trips. So here we go. We want to watch and see this corner. See this corner turn his hips, and he does. And now we know we've got the wheel in behind, and there's a back shoulder throw right there. As you can see, is that safety was able to recover and start to come back over top here. The quarterback does a great job of back shoulder throw on this, and keep that safety out of the play. Another wheel out of the backfield. So read the post. Corner turns. Now we've got the wheel, and again a back shoulder throw on that. Here's another wheel out of the backfield. It's actually a double wheel, sorry. Got a double wheel, got one from the back that's split out wide, and then one from the back that's in the backfield. So we got a double wheel. And again, this is up to you and your quarterback. You can always call the wheel out here and then give the quarterback the freedom to let the back in the backfield release too if he likes, or keep him in if he feels like he needs the extra protection. Read the post, wheel, and again got double wheel, again down near the goal line. It's not bad because the gives the backs a little bit, they kind of get lost coming out of the backfield a little bit. Use motion as a man indicator. And again, you can see where the mesh kind of picks off the linebacker responsible for the back, and the back coming out of the backfield kind of gets lost a little bit to the defense and is able to set this play up nice and easy. let's look at the mesh return. Mesh return is if you've got if you're really struggling with your offensive line, throwing any of the 90 stuff, which means the 3-step or 5-step drop stuff that's going to take a little bit more time, you might want to consider using the mesh return. If you've got smaller receivers or guys that aren't as courageous going across the middle, guys that don't like to get hit as much going across the middle, or like that physicality of running the mesh and banging with guys, with linebackers and that kind of thing, then the mesh return might be better for you. One thing, the O-line doesn't have to protect as long. The other thing is the receiver splits aren't as important. They can be a little bit wider here, and that's fine. But the reads stay the same. And what we want it to make it look like is that we are going to run mesh, though. So we're going to release the same way. Okay, we're going to release inside right away, get to our depth at 5 yards, and then read it from there. If there's grass there, turn and sit. If it's man, we're going to stick it and break it outside and turn it into a what would look like a man mesh route if we had come all the way across the field. Okay, so basically we're going to run a stick route here, and then we'll just whip it back outside if it's man. So it doesn't really matter the alignment as much as it does if we're really going to make the mesh happen. Again, we want to get 5 yards depth, work inside, get 5 yards depth, and then sit if it's open. Find grass. If it's open, sit in it. If not, then break it outside, and then work your way back up the field, slightly gaining ground as you come back. Now here on the one thing with the reads on this, because it does happen so fast, or it happens so much faster than just a regular mesh route, a lot of times you'll notice the quarterback go from the deep route to the backside return, which is fine, okay, because they can see something happen here that will give them an indicator that this backside return may be open early. So you may see these throws to the backside early, which is fine, but we don't teach it that way. We teach it so that the progression stays consistent. We read the high to the play side return, play side back, backside return to the backside back is how we read it. Okay. Here we've got return with a post, and so we'll have the post first. The quarterback takes a 1, 2, 3 open shuffle, shuffle drop, and gets the post out quick. He felt like he was going to get pressure, wanted to get the ball off quickly, so he did it open shuffle, shuffle. Worked well for him. You can tell they're in NASCAR. The defense is still just trying to get set up. And then he just gave him the post signal. Looks the ball in, open, shuffle, shuffle, and gets the ball out quickly. And here we've got the corner route. Mislabeled. Still ran the corner, just got it mislabeled here. So the corner be to the left side over here. And quarterback should take an open shuffle, shuffle on this one as well. Open shuffle, shuffle, get the ball out quick. As you can see, the receiver had to cut his route down just a little bit because he's running out of room, running out of real estate down here as we get close to the end zone. So he breaks this off at about 8 or 9 instead of 10, and still works to the back pylon. Quarterback gets it out there nice and high and works it to the back pylon. Now we've got the play side return route. Quarterback looks for the high, and now to the play side return. And as you can see, he's got zone. He's got zone here, so he's just going to sit. Quarterback should throw him to the outside, turn him to the outside, and he does. Again, you can watch here what the quarterback sees. Sees grass. One, two, three. Read the high to the play side play side return. Again, should hit him on this shoulder here, turn him away from that defender that's closing. And then again, we got a play side return. And here's more of a man route now. And you've got your deep route here. And then you've got your return. And you can see that the backer closes on him, so now he turns it into a man route and whips it back outside and starts to gain just a little bit of ground. And the quarterback reads high, play side mesh, reads man, leads him up the field a little bit to the outside. And now we go to the backside return. Reads the high, play side return, backside return, and again we got a man. There again, like I said, they can get to this backside return a little bit quicker than they can the backside mesh a lot of times. So you'll see again, you see him come in here, feel pressure, breaks it back outside and starts to gain a little bit of ground, run a man route. And then we go to the play side back, high, play side return, play side back. And then going to the left, we get the deep route. There's the corner. Does a good job of stemming, breaking down leverage, and the quarterback does a good job of just throwing him open. As you can see, that doesn't really turn into much of a corner route. Starts to turn into more, because this guy stays deep, stays over top. This turns into more of an out route than a corner route, because the quarterback just throws him open. Mesh pyramid is another tag that's been really successful for clients for a lot of years, and it's the only major issue with it is just that it takes quite a bit of time for it to develop, especially out of a 2x2 set. So I like it. I prefer it out of a 3x1 set. Still a very effective play. The other thing you want to do is a lot of guys try to run this just on 3rd and long or 2nd and long. This is, if you can protect well, this is a better play. Probably would probably be a better play and more effective on some short yardage and then on some early downs instead of just the 3rd and longs. But it is a good long yardage play, because this dig, because of the way we run it, this dig here comes open just about every time. So the way we read this. Now we're still going to read the deep route. First, and then, but then we're going to read this dig. We're going to read this dig second. Okay. So, and that is the pyramid. So if we tag this, like this would be called ACE 92X pyramid, is what it should say. This is ACE 92X pyramid, and the X, the pyramid route, basically just means the dig. Okay. So again, we got 10-yard post here, and then we've got the 12 to 14-yard dig coming in to the post. All right, and then our meshers now are just going to be our 2 receivers. And the difference in their mesh now is they cannot stop their mesh, whether it's zone or man, either one. They can't stop till they get to the numbers or wider. Okay, so they're going to run a man route regardless. The reason we do that is we want to take these linebackers and make them run and expand with the mesh, and then we open up this middle of the field right here for this dig coming through. And you'll watch on these cut-ups that's typically what happens more times than not. By continuing to run with these mesh guys, not letting them stop, it makes all these linebackers expand and gives us a really good clear picture right here in the middle of the field that we can fit the dig in and get a big play out of it. And then the back again runs his swing. Okay, so here it is out of ACE, and this is Z pyramid. Okay, so the X, this the X has got the deep route. Going to read that first, read the post, and then read the dig. 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3, read the post, don't like it, come back to the dig, and as you can see with these guys continuing to run, you can see these guys continue to run as well, and now we get a nice clear picture in the middle of the field. Then out of trips, which is the way that I prefer it, just because it happens quicker. It's easier for the quarterback to read, and everything happens a lot faster. We've got the deep route that we still read first, and then we have the dig coming from the same side, so we can see, we can read, we can come from this post to this dig with the eyes real easy now, so we can tell, you know, if and you can mix it up. You can have the inside guy run the dig and the outside guy run the post. It doesn't really matter, because what you want to look for is this safety, and see whether or not if he's gonna bail and play the deep post, then you know you've got the dig coming in underneath. If he tries to jump the dig, then you know you got the post over top. So it doesn't really matter. Same concept. Still going to read the post to the dig, and then read to the mesh, to the back. Okay, so we're going to read the mesh to the mesh, and then this back should be over here. On this drawing, he's on the wrong side. But again, do not stop the mesh till we get the numbers are wider. Still want to spread the field here. Still want to open this up right here for us. Okay. And here we've got X pyramid. So the Z is going to run the deep route and occupy all of these guys here. And then our meshers are going to help expand these linebackers. And then we get this nice big alley to throw the dig into. And you can see how much quicker this happens than when you run it out of ace. Again, out of trips, you got the post, you got the dig in behind it, you got a good play. And then just from the right side, same thing. Again, the trick is that the mesh happens fast and the mesh keeps running. Again, you can see here, they open this up.